What's going on my good people out there in social media world? How y'all doing tonight, man? My name is Daryl Boyles. For those of you who don't know me, I am a personal finance coach and a real estate agent here in the big, humongous city of Columbia, South Carolina. Tonight, I got a very special guest. Miss Kiki is going to be joining us. She's going to be sharing some business advice, some personal finance advice. So definitely had the notebooks and the ink pens ready. I'm pretty sure she's going to be dropping some gems. Award-winning restaurant, multiple locations, serial entrepreneur. She got a lot going for herself. So we're gonna talk about all the good stuff tonight. So Miss Kiki, let's get it started. Let's just jump right into it. What led you to open up and start a restaurant?
So while at USC, I was working at California Dreaming for probably about 7 years. And that's where I met Tyrone. We both own the restaurant, and we always wanted to open our own business. And we just decided to, open up a business. Well, we wanted to open up a business, and we didn't know what. We knew we wanted to do the restaurant thing because, we both had the experience in the restaurant. And so we took a small trip to Atlanta, and we actually stood in line for 2 hours to get into Gladys Knight Chicken and Waffles, which is the hot spot 8 to 10 years ago. And, once we kind of sat down at the table, it was like, we need to bring a chicken and waffle spot here to Columbia, South Carolina. And that's how we came up with, the restaurant business and the chicken and waffles.
Let's go. I love it. I have been down there in the A-Town and visit. I like yours better than hers. I'm not.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So, was this your first endeavor as a business owner?
Yes, first. Like I said, I when I was at USC from 2004 to 2008 or 9. I graduated and I worked at Verizon Wireless call center for about 8 months. And I was still working at California Dreaming on the side after I graduated. And then I actually got an opportunity to work at Newberry College in the athletic department because I always wanted to work in the sports field. And, I just, at that time, I just didn't like it. And so that's when me and my boyfriend at the time, we were like, okay, let's open up this restaurant. So I actually was at Newberry when we opened up the restaurant. So yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. We're gonna definitely come back. So we're gonna come back to that. So you're working at Newberry, but you wanted to start the restaurant. So can you share with us some of the things you did and some of the things that people could also apply for themselves, some of the things financially that you did to prepare to open and start your restaurant?
Sure. So mainly what we did was, for me, I was always working. So I was always saving. Saving is so important, not splurging. I rarely went on trips. I can't say that now, but back then, yeah, I rarely went on trips because I was saving because I had so many goals that I wanted to reach. And so and my husband as well, didn't have money, we didn't want to spend our money on unnecessary things. So we were saving. And so at that time, we knew that we needed the money for the business to get started. And what we did, of course, everyone, you don't want to use your cash reserves. Most of the time when you open up a business, you want to try to use other people's money. You see on Facebook or online, they say OP money, other people's money, because it's better not to use your money because you can have that money for if something happens, that you needed, car breaks down or you just need some emergency money. And so, so we started going to banks and trying to, get a loan. And at that time, banks just wasn't giving out any money because restaurants are like the riskiest business to open up. So basically, we were let down with that, but we didn't give up. The next thing we just did was just kind of was like, okay, if we really, really want to open up this restaurant, we really got to use our money. And, once again, you don't want to use your money, but, you don't want to take that no and just not, fulfill your goal or dream that you have, and you want to, open that restaurant. So what we did, we just basically used our money to open up the restaurant. And once we kind of got started, we just kind of basically, develop our business plan so that we know where our money was going. And so, we had a certain amount of money allotted for equipment, certain money allotted for our lease, the deposit and all that good stuff. So, we had everything lined up and planned out. But it was just the fact that, we had to use our money if we wanted to work, so.
Awesome. And this was a rumor that I heard about you, and you confirmed it once you came out to Eau Claire. What I had heard about you was that you worked on your business plan for an entire year before you all opened up.
Yes.
Is that true?
Mm-hmm. That is true. And I mean, laid out everything from what I wanted on the menu, the pricing, everything. Because, you need that business plan, because when you go to a bank, they're going to ask you for it, which they didn't ask us for because they didn't want to give any money out anyway. So it was just like we had it, and then, just if we needed. And then the owner of the building that we leased out when we first opened, of course, he asked us for it. So we didn't need it anyway. So
let's go. So if y'all just tuning in, man, say what's up to me in the comments. Let me know. Let us know that you're here. If you got any questions for Miss Kiki while we got her, please definitely drop the questions in the comments below. So my next question to you. So many people, I think you just answered this. You just answered that. So we'll come back to that one later. So like you said just before, 9 out of 10 businesses fail within their first year. You said restaurants are the most riskiest business, and it is. Mm-hmm. And 9 out of 10 businesses fail within their first year. So you all have been in business since 2012. What are some things that have made you all successful compared to others?
I would say we know the restaurant business. And when I say know the restaurant business, you can be a cook and a chef, but if you don't understand the restaurant business, I don't believe you can make it. I'm not going to say you won't make it, but I'm just saying you're just not going to understand the restaurant. And when I say understand the restaurant, I mean, know that you have to know the ins and outs of running a restaurant, like controlling the door, knowing when not to seat so many tables so you can get the food out and not have people waiting at their tables for their food. You may go into a restaurant and you're standing there and you're like, well, they got that table open. Now I'm talking about pre-COVID, but you see these open tables, you're like, well, why aren't they seating people? They're actually controlling the floor so that they're not bombarding the cooks with a lot of tickets, because they're trying to get the food out quickly. Because I'd rather have customers wait at the door than have them wait at the table, because it feel like you're waiting a long time for your food and you're ready to eat, so you have them wait out at the door on a wait, then have them wait at the table.
Okay. So, I'm glad you answered that for me, because I'd be feeling some kind of way. I'm like, man, we got all these open tables and we still here waiting. But I'm glad you dropped that on me. So, Miss Kiki, you are a wife, a mother, a sister, a daughter, and a business owner. Like, how do you make time to manage all of these different roles?
Oh man, it's tough. And you forgot to say I do have a full-time job too. I thought I mentioned that to you. Yeah.
No, you did not. You got a full-time job?
Yeah,
too?
I have a full-time job too. Yep.
Oh my God. I did not know that.
Look, I'm telling all my business on Facebook now. But yeah, so after I left Newberry College, and we opened up the business. So I left Newberry we opened in August of 2012, and then I left Newberry in October and November, because I was like, I really didn't want to be there anymore. I wanted to be in the restaurant. And so once we got the restaurant going, I left Newberry October. And then November, the state called me and was like, hey, you filled out an application in January. This is before we opened the restaurant. Do you still want to come in for an interview? And I was like, well, why not? I mean, I don't really need to be here. My husband's here. We don't, it was really small if you've been to our first location. So I was like, you know what, let me see what they're talking about. So I went in there, interviewed, got the job. And actually, so I've been working there for 8 years for the state. I'm not gonna say where I work with the state, but work with the state, and pretty much I'm enjoying it. I mean, and right now with the COVID, I'm working from home, and I go in the office 2 days, so I'm really, really enjoying it right now. So.
I am like in awe and in amazement and in shock.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that. Okay, so for those of y'all who just tuning in, this is Miss Kiki, right? Miss Kiki owns Kiki's Chicken and Waffles in Columbia. She owns a location on Park Lane. She owns a location on Bauer Parkway. And she also owns a location inside of the Colonial Life Arena. And she also has a mobile van. So what she's doing tonight is she's sharing her tips with us for everybody for free about how to get started in business, things she's done in business, and also things she's done in her personal finance to transition. So that's what we got going on tonight. If y'all got any questions, now is definitely the time to answer them. I gotta catch up. I'm like, you threw me way off with the job. So this lovely lady here, she says, so many people are eager to quit their full-time job and start a business. What is your motivation to continue working?
My motivation is healthcare. Is expensive. Like, even though I actually added healthcare to our restaurant business just as benefits for our staff, but it's nothing compared to what the state offers, for my family. So that was one motivation, and just that sometimes you can't listen to everybody. When they say leave that full-time job, because you can open your own business and have all that time invested in your own business. But I mean, if you can do both, why not? That's what they do in the real estate investing business. They own houses, rent them out, and they still work full-time jobs.
It's all about collecting them assets.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Wow.
And if it was just me, the restaurant business, though, I don't think I would be able to have the full-time job, but my husband, he pretty much runs it, himself, and I, do the payroll and all that other stuff. So.
And her husband is at both locations. No matter which one you go to or what time you go there, he's gonna be there. So
Right.
I always see him, man. Good brother. Damon wants to know, what kind of tools did you use to put your business plan together?
So I purchased books from Barnes and Noble. I actually utilized SCORE, and I utilized the SBDA. I think that's the initials, the acronym for that.
Small Business Development.
Yeah. So utilize those free opportunities in the city. They're out there. All you have to do is just reach out to them, and they're going to help you, send you resources to be able to develop your business plan, answer any questions you have on what type of entity you need to file your business under. So they're very helpful.
Let's go. All right. Miss Brittany says, I love that you continue to work your full time. I do too. I'm still in shock. She said, I feel like you are always pushed to leave your full-time job and start a business. I think that's what she meant. Mm-hmm. And that is true. It's like, I don't know what it is, but it's like some people, they look down on, I guess, people who have a job and is an entrepreneur at the same time. Right. But mind you, a lot of those people aren't building anything in the entrepreneur field.
Right.
So definitely. Why do you think that is? Like, why do you think people look down on people that have a job and that's building a business at the same time?
I don't know. And it's crazy because I really enjoy what I do. So if you enjoy what you do and you're not upset to go to work and mad because you got to get up early in the morning, why not get up and go to work? If you enjoy it, you can be making that money and making money for your business as well. And some people just don't want to own their own business, and I can understand why. Some days I can understand why they don't want to have a business, and they just enjoy working for someone else and moving up their corporate ladder and getting to where they want to be. I mean, why not?
Let's go. I love it. All right, let's keep going. I heard so many people say you can't do business with your family. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. Would you recommend people build and start businesses with their family?
I wouldn't say recommend it.
Are you anti-family?
Well, my brother, he did work for us for a few, probably about probably about a year or so, and he decided to go back and get his master's, and he wants to work in the sports field. So he basically just kind of just, stopped working in the restaurant. But I wouldn't say not to have family work for you. I mean, I enjoyed it because I, can trust him, and with managing the building, I trust him with the money and trust him with closing the doors and opening up. But the people we have in place now, our managers, we trust them because they basically started with us since the beginning. And, before we were opening the business, me and my husband, we were there opening and closing. And at that time, when we first opened, we were opening 11 and we were closing at 2 a.m. on the weekends. A lot of people don't remember that. We closed at 2 a.m. on Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays. And, before we opened, I was like, are you sure you want to do that? I was asking my husband that. I was like, are you sure? He was like, yeah, let's do it. Because, in Atlanta, they do it. And, people hang out and they want to, get good food when they, finish clubbing or whatever. And, it just wasn't a good move. And so we kind of changed our times or whatever. And, we were closing. So we were there late night and then we had to get up early in the morning. I was working. So it was tough. But you got to do what you got to do to make sure your money's not looking funny and your change is not looking strange.
Hey, let's go. So, wow, those are a lot of hours. If y'all tuning in, please hit that share button for me. Let some other people join into this conversation, man. Let's go to the next question. So, a lot of people, including myself, like, how did you as an entrepreneur, how did you deal with fears? How did you deal, or how did you still deal or did deal with fear concerning your business?
So, well, before we open or whatever, I was scared. Even after we first opened, because I can count on my hand the amount of people that came through those doors. When I was at Newberry, I was calling my husband. I was like, "You think we made the right move?" And he was like, I hope so, and it's just like, we just kind of just hoping and praying that, people would just start notice that, Keke's is there. And, we started taking menus out and just talking to people, letting them know about Keke's. And then, people started to come in and post pictures about, the food and everything. And just word of mouth really is what, put us on the map. But you're always going to have that fear. I had it when we opened up our newer location on Bauer Parkway. It was like, man, we're going to have 2 locations. We can't be at both locations at one time. How are we going to do this? But we need to have this second location because, we just saw the crowd and how much it was building up on the weekends. And a lot of people, saying, I'm traveling from Spartanburg and Newberry. When you guys going to get a location on that side of town? So it was time for us to get that location. So that fear is going to always be there. So I wouldn't let that stop you from opening your own business if that's what you choose to do. You just got to go out and do it.
Let's go. Les Brown said, if you got to do it scared, then just do it scared.
Right.
Let's go. So we talked about a little bit earlier offline. So what would you like to share about how has COVID impacted your business, and what can business owners do to prepare in advance for different emergencies, I guess?
So with COVID, oh my gosh. So I know COVID has hit pretty much every business kind of a lot, impacted so many businesses. And, in a way with us, I pride ourselves because we buy things that we want, but we try to buy things that we only need. And with the business, we try to keep our cash reserves. And when reading articles during COVID, it was like the Cheesecake Factory didn't have money to pay their rent. And it's like, wow, the Cheesecake Factory couldn't pay their rent. So it's like, and we could. It's kind of crazy that, for a place that makes so much money, they couldn't do that. But we pretty much had a good amount of cash reserve saved up so that we could pay any outstanding bills or invoices that needed to be paid or whatever. during that time. And then most of our the owners that own our building or whatever, they were able to work with us so we wouldn't have to pay so much at one time without any money coming in. So, you know, I thank God every day that we're able to stay afloat during this time, because a lot of restaurants have closed because they just can't keep up. I went down to Charleston about a couple months ago, and so many restaurants on King Street have closed because they just can't keep up. And just imagine paying $20,000 for a rent because you're on a prime street that everybody goes to, and you can't. I mean, you got to think about it. If you're just doing to-go orders, you're not going to make $20,000 in rent and pay your staff and pay for food that you got to buy to make the food that's on your menu. So it's a lot that you have to think about when you own a restaurant. But you just have to plan. And with COVID, you know, a lot of restaurants don't have a type of plan in place. Whereas if something like this happened, what do? We didn't have anything in plan. We just knew that, you know, we just, you know, paid our bills and just kind of just went with it as normal, and it just hit us basically. So
let me double back, being that we got more viewers at this present time. You said you was working at Newberry, and the way you started your business was that banks pretty much wouldn't bank on you. They wouldn't give you the money. So you and your husband, y'all basically had to work and save your money and be your own bank to fund your own self, to be your own business.
Yes.
So definitely, I love this advice. Definitely take that money and stack it high and deep. So you talked about personal finances. Was personal finances, as you were growing up as a child, was it talked about a lot in your household?
Yes. So my dad, he was in the military, and so he always taught us to save. He was the type that we only buy whenever we needed it. You know, I received allowance or whatever. And my parents, man, they didn't even want me to work during high school. A lot of kids say, well, I worked here and I worked here. I had to beg my parents to let me work my senior year of school. And so being that I couldned work, what I did was I sold candy during high school. And so I sold candy. So I always had that business minded thinking when things just, you know, when he told me no, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this then to make money. So
let's go. I love it, man. If y'all got any questions, Tyler, you got a fan. My wife, she says hi. So if y'all got any questions, please drop them in the comments, man. I'm in awe as we keep going with this, man. And it's like, it's rare that I talk with anyone that has a dad that talked about personal finance in the house at all. So I think that definitely plays a huge part. And I too was selling candy in school. I used to get the Bubblicious, the 4 for $1.
Yeah.
And I used to sell for 50 cents a pop in middle school. I was that guy.
Yeah.
You wanted to quench your sweet tooth, come holler at me. But okay, so you talked about your dad talking about personal finances. We got a lot of parents tuning in right now. So at what point would you recommend parents to start talking to their kids about money?
Oh, early. Middle school. Let's see. So middle school, I would say probably about fifth. Well, I mean, actually elementary school, because what you can do is you can start, you know, giving them allowance or whatever, and having them start a bank account, doing chores to earn money so that they know you have to work for your money. And once you work for your money, then, okay, let's go put your money in the bank, and you only spend it if you need something, or we're not going to touch the money. You're just going to see that money grow. So teaching your kids real early is very important. Not wanting them to spend every time they get it is another, you know, advice to, you know, give your kids. But I think starting that bank account real early is key.
I love it. So Miss Robin wants you to know that she loves your hustle.
Thank you, Robin. I love you guys. Her and her husband, they support us very well. I appreciate the community so much, especially during this time, because you could easily go to Outback or Longhorns, and the amount of people that's come in to support us in order to take out food, during that time, it's just awesome the amount of support that we get. So
Definitely. Timothy is a great guy. He says looking forward to stopping by your restaurant soon. Best wishes to you and your family. And he
thank you.
also wants to know if you have any other business ventures that you're doing.
So yes, I actually do travel. So I'm like a travel agent. I actually work under somebody. She actually booked all my trips for me, and I just kind of sent her an email, and I was like, hey, do you have any travel agents working on you? And she was like, no. And I was like, well, I travel all the time. Let me see, how this travel agent business works. And so she just kind of showed me the ropes and how to book the trips and everything. And so I actually do that. I don't do it as much, but I do book trips. I also just ventured out to the real estate investment business. And the reason being, during this time, COVID, I had a lot of time on my hands, and I always wanted to get into the real estate business, but I just didn't know when to do it. And COVID was the perfect time. And what I did during that time, I listened to a lot of podcasts. Bigger Pockets podcast for real estate was one of my top podcasts. I read a lot of real estate books, and I decided to just kind of start doing research and looking for homes that we could kind of fix up a little bit and rent them out. So we actually purchased one home recently, so that we can kind of just start generating money. And I think I actually put too much money into the home, so I think I'm going to flip that house or whatever. And to tell you why I decided to go in the real estate business, because if you look up, on Google, what business can you become wealthy in, real estate is going to be like one of your top choices. And if you want your money to make money for you, that is like the perfect business to get into. And during COVID, I started thinking, with one of our restaurant locations kind of closing down for a few months, I was like, man, we really should have gotten this real estate business real early, And so that's one of the reasons why I decided to go for it during this time.
Multiple streams. I love it. I love it. I love it. King Solomon in the Bible, he had multiple streams of income, and one of them was absolutely real estate.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I love it. Real estate and gold has been around since the beginning of time.
Yes.
So I love it. I love it. I love it. Y'all got any questions? Just keep dropping them in the comments, and we'll get them to them. Also, if y'all want this live to keep going, I need y'all to hit that share button for me. Hit that share button for me as we keep going. So you mentioned about reading books and listening to podcasts. Like, how important is personal development in your journey as an entrepreneur, or just as an adult, period?
It's very important. I read a lot, but I've gotten into a lot of podcasting just because it's so much easier for me to listen while I'm taking my son to school or just doing things around the house. And my personal development, I like to listen to stories of other celebrities or other people who made it, because it kind of shows you that other people didn't have it easy, or they had to go through certain things to get to where they're at. And I like to hear stories, their stories about stuff like that. And so Kevin Hart has an awesome story of how he got started. I read his book probably a couple years ago, but he has an awesome story as well. But just listen to other people's story. And then I also read this book called Move Your Bus, and it kind of had me relate to my staff with that book, because basically it's almost like you're traveling in a Flintstone car. And so, you have your people, with their feet on the ground, they're moving the bus. And so you have your driver, and then you have your runners, then you have your drive, you have your driver, you have your walkers, you have your joggers, you have your runners, and I think you have your sitters, I think is the last person. And I always like to bring up that story to them, because I always like to say that, either you're going to be that driver for us, which is either, the owner or our managers who's driving the business, or you're going to have those people who are running with the business, and those are the people that they're going to work hard for you and do what you ask them to do, or you're going to have those joggers who just do just as much to get by, or you're going to have those walkers, and those are the people that you really have to kind of watch out for, because those are people that are kind of keeping you and holding you back and keeping your business from growing. And then you have those sitters, those people who have their feet up and they're not doing anything. They're not to help you grow. They're not helping your business go anywhere. They're just there just to have a job. And so that book, I love that book so much, because it pretty much shows how our business is kind of like should be ran, because I only want those drivers, those runners, and those joggers that's helping us grow our business.
And what's the name of that book again?
Move Your Bus.
Move Your Bus. Okay. I think the first guy I heard talk about an analogy like that was what was his name? Jim Collins, I think it was.
And I have to find out who's the author, but it's an awesome book. Good
deal. Timothy wants to know, what type of work did you do before Kiki's?
So before Kiki's, so after I graduated, while I was in college, I worked at California Dreaming, and I worked for the women's basketball team. So a lot of people say, well, how do you know Coach Staley? Because I used to work with the women's basketball team while I was at USC. After I graduated, I worked at Verizon Wireless in the call center for about 8 months. And, that job, I wouldn't say it was a bad job. It was a job, customer service, learning about customer service and just learning how to basically handle business over the phone. So I wouldn't say that it was one of the worst jobs ever, but I didn't like it, but I learned a lot. And then after Verizon, I actually had an opportunity to work at Newberry College in the athletic department. And so I worked there in the ticketing department for about 9 months. And then that's when we opened up the restaurant. And after leaving there and we opened the restaurant, I got a job working for the state. And so that's what I do now.
Good deal. Brittany wants to know, have you all bought any properties from the tax sale?
We have not, but that is on my list to learn about, because I've heard that a lot of people get most of their properties from the tax sale. So I've heard about it, and I always want to go to it, but I always have to work. So this is my year. I'm going to take the day off and make sure I'm there to take advantage of that. But you have to do your research, because, you can, I heard a story where someone, thought they bought like a $30,000 house for their kids. And when they went to the place, it was just a lot. So in this huge list, this Excel spreadsheet they give you, this actually is the time when they release the list, and you go by the list and, you kind of drive for dollars, what they call it, and check out the properties and see what you want to bid on.
I was at a tax sale one year. A house came up. It was like NX 512 2 notch. Let's just call it like that. And I bought that thing. I might have paid like $600. I was so geeked up. And turns out that was not the house that I bought. I bought like a piece of land that was right next to the house. That's what the NX was for. But definitely do your research. So I know all about that firsthand.
And I didn't know you were a realtor.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to shoot you some property, buying whole. All right. Mentorship. Has mentorship played a big part in your life as an entrepreneur? And are you currently mentoring anyone, or will you? I mean, are you currently, or will you in the future offer any mentorship services to anyone?
So before we opened, we did have people that we could go to and ask questions. So at California Dreaming, I had managers there that while I was there, I was asking them questions that they didn't mind giving me the answers. They didn't mind helping me. And then we also have friends that own restaurants as well. So they were able to help us as well. So I consider that mentorship. Right now, probably maybe about a year or so ago, I called, I guess when you think about it, it's like, okay, who can I call to be my mentor? Because it's like a lot of people don't want to be mentors these days. And then you want to be careful who you ask too, because you don't want to act like you're stealing information, I guess you would say. So what I did was I called the owner of our Park Lane location. He actually used to own Sticky Fingers. Him and his two friends, they started the Sticky Fingers building. So the Sticky Fingers restaurant in the building, our Park Lane location actually was a Sticky Fingers. And so I called him up and I was like, hey, Chad, I'm not calling you about anything about the building, but I just want to ask you if you mind mentoring us, because you guys opened the Sticky Fingers and they opened up, I think 3 or 4 locations, but they sold the business off. So now he works as a like a front office person in their business in the Sticky Fingers restaurant. And so he was like, yeah, I don't mind. And so we've talked and he's asked us, how do we want to grow our business and everything. So he's actually one of our mentors that we talk to. And right now I'm not mentoring anyone, but I am in a mentoring program that was supposed to start before COVID with Richland County. I think it's 2. But we haven't started yet because they're trying to pivot and try to figure out what they're going to do with being with COVID and the kids are out of school or just doing virtual. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Awesome. Y'all, if y'all got some questions, please drop them in the comments below. So we talked about your business plan. You say you revealed that you worked on your business plan for like a year straight before opening up. What advice would you give to someone who's looking to start their business? What advice would you give to them when they're constructing their business plan?
So advice I would give someone when they're constructing their business plan. So definitely brainstorm, whatever you like to do, come up with, do the research. A lot of people who come to me and ask me questions on how to start a restaurant, when I ask them questions, well, what are you going to do back of the house? What are you going to do front of the house? They're like, what is that? And so back of the house, that's your kitchen staff, your cooks and your runners. Then your front of the house is your hosting, your servers. And if you don't know that type of language, why are you, trying to get in the restaurant business? So do your research, work for someone who has that business that you want to, have a business in. A lot of people do it. They start off somewhere and then they venture out on their own. There's nothing wrong with that. Get books that can assist you with, building that business plan. Utilize the free opportunities in Columbia. You have the SCORE, you have the SBDA. There's so many different free programs out there that can assist you with, writing your business plan. You don't have to do it all on your own. And then utilize the internet, to a certain extent. You don't want to use everything on the internet, but, make sure that you have, a good website that you're using to assist you. And that's pretty much what I did. I utilized the SCORE and, was able to ask them questions and they were able to assist me whenever I needed it. So.
Good deal. LaShondra wants to know what made you open up a restaurant as opposed to starting another type of business?
I had the experience in a restaurant. California Dream was the only restaurant I worked in. When I took an internship in Chicago because I was interested in the sports field, I worked at a restaurant there. So I was learning how they run their restaurant. And I always had that passion to cook and just being in the restaurant, just being in that atmosphere. And so that's just basically what I did. I just wanted to open up a restaurant because I knew that we would do good, being that there wasn't any soul food restaurants that I knew of during the time that we opened 8 years ago. And so that's what we did. We decided to do the chicken and waffle spot because, chicken and waffles is basically, was in Atlanta, LA, Chicago, Raleigh. So we just knew that chicken and waffles would be the hit to bring to Columbia.
Let's go.
Yeah. So
let's go. My man Rodney, he wants to know, and I want to know this myself too. Where can I buy a food truck? And I guess what's a good average price for like a decent food truck? I know it can vary from the application, but is there like a range or average price? So like a decent food truck?
So a food truck can range from 40,000 to about 100,000, depending on what you want in it. And so the best way to develop what type of food truck you want to kind of come up with the menu first. I always tell people to come up with the menu first and decide on how you will prepare that menu on your food truck. So what type of equipment you would need. So you need 3 fryers. Okay, you're gonna have 3 fryers. You're gonna have a flat top. You're gonna have some warmers. You're gonna have a refrigerator in there. You need a 3-compartment sink. So those are the type of stuff you're gonna have to put in there. You have to buy those equipment separately as well to put in there. So ours probably costs about around 80,000. So yeah, it's very expensive. And what we did was when we wanted to purchase a food truck, we just kind of searched on Google and we found this guy out of Charlotte. So he was able to build a food truck for us, and he was okay. The reason why I say he was okay is because we had a perfectly good truck, and we brought it to Columbia from Charlotte, and things just started to kind of like not work. It was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we spent this much on a food truck and stuff not working right. But he fixed it. But it's just the fact that that happened. You paying $80,000 for a food truck. And so
that is a nice piece of change right there.
Yes. And at the time, so we were in business for about 2 years. 1 year. And so at that time we had the business and we were able to get a loan for the food truck. So that's why I was saying in the beginning, you want to try to use other people's money, but if they don't want to give you that money, then you have to, try to go with it with your own money. And then once you start getting your business experience and people seeing you doing your thing, then they're like, okay, I can give you some money to loan you so that you can grow your business. And then that's what happened. We have good credit, and they still didn't want to give us, that loan when we first opened up. But now they're ready to throw out money to us because they know Kiki's is doing this and doing that. But it shouldn't be that way. It should be the way whereas, okay, if I give you my business plan and you see what I'm going to do, you should loan me that money no matter what. But you know how it is, So.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine. Let's get Timothy had a question. What's the one thing you would do differently if you could in business or life? What would the Kiki of the day tell the Kiki of day one? What kind of advice would you give her if you could?
Oh man, I always get this question too. I would probably say I don't know. I don't know because I look at it as the obstacles we did hit was all lessons that that pretty much helped us along the way. I would say when we first opened, I wish we would have basically kind of went in and really, really brought in someone that knew about commercial buildings, because this place needed so much work and we were so eager to sign that lease and get in there and start working. We really didn't look. For instance, like maybe about a month or so in, our whole kitchen was flooded with water. And we were so busy during this time, and it's like, man, how in the world this happened? But we didn't check the plumbing, we didn't check the ACs. We were just so eager, and the reason why we were so eager, the realtor was like, you know, I have this place that you guys should look at. The tenants just left in the middle of the night, so the owners want someone in there now. And so we was like, well, hopefully the place is good if the tenants were in there and they were doing business. So we really didn't do the checks that we should have done. So I would say that is one thing that I wish we would have done starting out. And then probably maybe have like a someone who actually started a business from ground up, kind of just walk us through it and what not to do and what to do. I think that would have probably helped us in a way as well, because pretty much we were kind of going with the flow. I mean, we knew the business, but we didn't really know the starting the restaurant business.
Good deal. All right, I done kept you too long. I didn't mean to go this long, but it just kind of
No,
happened.
you're fine.
It was getting good to me. So this is the most important question of the night. I know you shared a lot of great information on personal finances and business, but everybody needs to know this. So I say this one for last. Who is responsible for making the potato salad at the location? You need to know this.
So it's my it's a family recipe. You know, we just kind of I came up with most of all the recipes on the menu, and just pretty much just kind of tweak it as we go. And you know, when customers come in and say, well, you know, this don't, you know, y'all need to add a little more season to this, you know, we kind of tweak it at, you know, doing that way. So
when I had that potato salad, I just had to sit there for a second. I was like, this tastes like somebody grandma made this potato salad. Like she's in the back right now in the house robe and sliders, whipping up the potato salad. So all right, man. If y'all got any other questions, man, I guess y'all can inbox me. I'll see if she'll answer them. But we done kept her too long. Thank you, Miss Kiki, for dropping so many gems on us tonight. If y'all weren't here from the beginning, please check out the replay. Also, please hit that share button for your boy. And that's all I got for y'all tonight, man. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, and I will absolutely see y'all next time.
See y'all next